is a magical operation of maximum importance. The initiation of a new aeon. When it becomes necessary to utter a word, the whole planet must be bathed in blood.
Ah, yes. Welcome to Deadhaus Whispers.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Deadhaus Whispers. I am your host, Calypso, and joined by me, as always, is Faceless Mike.
Yo!
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Happy La Ela Padraig, my friends. And yes, we are actually doing this live. So if you're listening to this later on, we actually recorded this on St. Patty's Day evening because we's good boys.
Yes. So welcome to Deadhaus Whispers. Deadhaus Whispers is a Deadhaus Sonata fan podcast where we talk about all things Deadhaus Sonata related, be that the community, be gameplay in general, and just Deadhaus Sonata. And today's topic is actually dealing with our community in general. So
it's a case of what is a house? A house is a community. A house is a family. So what does it mean for an online community? What does it mean to be part of an online community that focuses on a game? This is interesting because I don't want to age myself here, but I'm sure you can all guess. Back in the day, the best form of community you would have had would be going to the video store or the game rental place or the video game shop and talking to your few fellow nerds within your community. Now we are all connected online all the time. And that has great ramifications and horrible, tragic ramifications for video games and their communities. So like, Calypso, give me an example of some of the stuff maybe you've experienced, like from your perspective on being a member of certain communities in gaming and what that has meant and changed over the years.
Okay, so when it comes to you're right about community, it's a kind of a complicated thing because at one point you're always connected, and that can be a positive and a giant negative. Not to call anybody out or name any real names, but like, for example, if a really popular game comes out like Doom 2016, for example, that the community for that is at one point incredibly positive, and then there's of course the incredibly toxic part of that community. But that all sort of, you can always take that in stride with how you react and everything. And that's kind of the glory and the downfall of communities in general, online communities, is that
like Pong.
Yeah, like Pong. Is that because of that constant interaction and the sort of always online endeavor of it, you're going to get, things from both ends of the spectrum of opinions, and some of them can be positive and some of them can be negative. And but generally, I always found that communities are always a welcoming thing. A lot of them, are nice to join and will help you get acquainted to the community if you're new, and help you, give you some tips and tricks for video games and everything, depending on what community you're part of.
Get good.
Yeah, get good. I know the Souls community and the Dark Souls community is having a fun time with Elden Ring coming out.
But bizarrely, on that topic of Elden Ring, now invasions are invasions. Like, you're PvPing people, you're jumping into the world to kind of be a bit of a thorn in their side, which it's part of the mechanics. Like, it's not like you're griefing in any fashion. But there's been so much friendly discourse over it with people co-oping. Like, I've seen communities popping up online of people that want to just adventure together.
Yeah, that's really cool. I haven't played Elden Ring, but I've seen all the memes for it. And something I do like about the Souls games, I think you might have been able to do this in the Souls games, is you leave little messages behind, and like little tips and tricks for Elden Ring or Dark Souls, I guess. For example, like, dog ahead or boss ahead, or just like
the new one
some meme stuff.
The new one is fort, night. Imagine, hey Reb, adventuring together in Elden Ring. What wholesome blasphemy is this? Yes, not everyone is evil. Well, evil, nice, but evil.
Yeah.
That's a throw in there for Mert. He'll get it if he sees this.
Okay, the messages have always been a thing. Okay, good to know. So yeah, that's I think my favorite little aspect of the Souls games, even though I'm not
jump
really a
for
fan of them.
treasure. Over the
Yeah.
cliff. Jump for treasure. Praise the sun.
Yeah.
Story time. So when we're talking about communities, I'll give you a little story. So I would be what you would call an old geezer WoW veteran. That's World of Warcraft for anyone that doesn't know. I lost approximately a decade to that game. It's at least a good decade I lost to that. Like I was there for about halfway through vanilla, the original launch. So that it was I got into it, even though I had no idea at the time, because I played other online games and all, but it was just at the bit where they just announced that Burning Crusade was going to be a thing. So that was about the time I got into it. I'm like, oh, what's this thing? They've announced this thing, but I want to see what the real game's like. I didn't even know when the expansion was going to be coming out. Jumped into it, was having fun playing the game. Everyone was really nice when I started it, right? I mean, everyone in the game was actually friendly. Now, this is before Group Finder, looking for group, Dungeon Finder, all of these weird quality of life things. So when you wanted to do a dungeon, you had two options. It was either people shouting in the main city areas, or you went, and I'll never forget, because the first ones I picked, I rolled an undead class. Of course. That's the other one. What is it? What do rogues and noobs have in common?
What?
They both pick locks. I picked an undead warlock because I was a noob. And you'd go and stand outside the dungeon and wait and hope someone else would come outside the dungeon and, you know, you'd get a group together. And it kind of built this weird camaraderie. And over that, I ended up finding like 2 or 3 people. We got friends. We started a guild. We got more people. And over a period of time, there was a period there for about 3-4 years where I was running a guild of about 35-40 people.
That's awesome.
And we like, crap, I used to log in every day, even if I wasn't playing, if I was only logging in for half an hour just to chat to the guys in guild chat and stuff. You know, you'd ask how they were going and all, because this was before the days. Like, I remember we all got together and put on a Ventrilo server for anyone that's old enough to remember that event server. You old enough for that, Calypso?
No, I played WoW.
Server. And then TeamSpeak later on.
Oh yeah, TeamSpeak. No, I got into WoW with Lich King. With Wrath of Lich King. Like, finally they're doing Arthas. Yeah, I was like, finally Arthas.
My favorite expansion, but it totally broke the game afterwards. Just to summarize, like, yeah, we had some great fun. And like, I can't tell you how many times we downed X bosses or whatever like that. But I remember the fun nights of just like face melting through dungeons, having a laugh with my friends. And that was the most important part. I think that's what contributed to it being like such an easy decade go through a video game, because it was hanging out with my friends doing fun things. Yeah. That's the key. I don't think you can force that. I don't think a company could actually build that. That has to happen naturally. But you have to give the players the tools for it to happen naturally.
I think that's the best kind of part about online play, is that since the beginning of online play, it sort of just happens naturally, because we as like human beings gravitate towards other human beings and other players and everything like that. Sure, you can like solo this and solo that, but you're always gonna, at the end of the day, meet up with people. Always hanged out with TeamSpeak. WoW is one game I never got into, but it sounded like it was once an awesome community. Yeah, it was once an awesome community.
And then I'll tell you, I'm gonna get wrecked for this, because this is going to be saved as a podcast. But I'm going to say it out loud right now, just to let everyone know my stance. I loved World of Warcraft for what it was back in the day, but I'll never forget, I used to watch BlizzCon every year. And there was a guy called Sam Didier. He used to be like a producer or something at Blizzard. A really cool guy. Looked like a wizard. He's kind of a husky beard, long hair, and all like that. He was in their like mock band, you know, the Elite Tauren Chieftains and stuff.
Oh, geez,
he was like the singer for that stuff. But anyway, someone asked at BlizzCon, "Hey, are you ever going to put Pandarans in the game?" And I'll never forget his answer. He says, "No, Pandarans are there as a joke. We might like throw a Pandaran character into the game, but we won't have Pandarans in the game. He says, when you see pandas, and he didn't even say Pandaran. He said, when you see pandas in the game, you know we've run out of ideas.
And now there's pandas in the game.
2 expansions later, Sam was gone. They brought in pandas. I'm like, I'm done. That's it. Okay. After
So
Cataclysm, I'm like, this is so broken. I can't play this anymore. And it actually broke my heart. But I told everyone in like our guild all splintered off and stuff like that, because a load of people had the same attitude as me. It's like, this isn't the same game anymore. They ruined the uniqueness of the classes. They made everything homogenous, which made it pointless. It's kind of, they're like, oh, but we need everyone to have access. Yeah, but it's kind of ruins the point. That's why everyone's gravitating towards Elden Ring, because like it's hard. You're showing off, so it's like, oh, I got this sword because you bloody earned it. It was tough to get,
Yeah. Oh man, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, like with World of Warcraft, they're like, oh hey, pandas, yada yada yada, and then they're like, how do we fix this? Oh wait, let's go back to the beginning. And now they have WoW Classic or whatever, the mode, and Burning Crusade Classic, and I'm sure there's going to be Lich King Classic if it's not
I don't want to burn anyone, because I'd say there's probably some really nice developers that are working really hard.
Oh yeah.
Blizzard. But when you're talking about the upper management and the bosses, when your old game that it doesn't exist anymore, that you had to re-release, is doing better than your proper game, maybe you've made some missteps.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. When Classic has had such a thing, and Grums on Twitter was saying like he was pushing for Classic for years. He always thought that should have been a thing. Yeah. He was one of the head developers on it. But what you do from that is, instead of lamenting the loss, you take from these lessons to learn for the future, which is what I wanted to talk about in how we're building a community for Deadhaus. We already have one. If you haven't, go join the Discord. There'll be links below, deadhausonata.com. They're all over the place. What have we got as a community now? Because right now we're mildly inactive because we're waiting for new things to happen. And there is new things coming, as Dennis would say, soon.
Soon. TM. I mean, I'll be honest. I have not been very active within the community myself because I am still waiting for news. And I have jumped on the forums occasionally, and I've seen some posts, and I do lurk in the Discord every now and then. And like it's like props to people in the Discord still being active. But I think the thing is I've seen most and that I love the most is that every single time I jump back in the Discord and lurk just for a minute, there is always someone new who is joining, and everybody within the Discord community right now is always welcoming to them and giving them the updates and answering the questions that they have and everything like that. New lore come out yet?
Any new lore come out yet? There will be the radio plays, which is the lore. So there's the community ones that are being released at the moment. There should be a new one very soon. But in regards to the official story ones, as we'll call them, the Alaric Chronicles, we'll call them.
Yeah.
Alaric's Chronicles, they're nearly done, and they'll be coming very soon as well. So once you just wait to the end of the community ones, and they'll come in, and these are going to be long. I think they're like half an hour.
They're working on it. I constantly see George, even though I know he's not complaining about them. I constantly see George complaining about them. Like, oh, hey, I just got done with a 20-hour workday in the booth, and boy, is my voice tired. And, so, props to you, George, for sticking with it if you ever end up seeing this episode or listening to this episode.
Varric and Wyvern both had it.
Yes. Props to you. Props to you, Varric. Kick ass, dude. Kick ass. Way to go, Varric. Varric, yes. All of you got all the recent. Okay, people who are listening to this or watching this, get on the Deadhaus YouTube or the Deadhaus Sonata Spotify. The community ones by Varric, the Blood Maidens, I think is Varric's. Wyvern Tamer had the Book of the Necromage or something kick ass title like that, and Termulgence. They have racked up the views. They're in the thousands.
Slow Awakening.
Yes, they are in the 1,000 view mark. and they are good. That's
I got
the great
really
thing
angry
about.
when Varric submitted his because I was writing something very similar and I was like, I can't put that up now.
Yeah,
It's just like we
Oh
both had a very
man,
similar idea, but he got to it first. His is a little better than mine, so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to
yeah.
let Varric do that.
So props to you guys, and they're actually good. Like that's what I like about the community stuff that's submitted, is that it's all been really good so far, and I think it only strengthens like the little lore that we have for Deadhaus within Deadhaus. It's because, oh hey, that's canon now, that's in the lore, that's a community thing. It's really really cool.
That's a really interesting question, Temilton. It says, where are the community radio plays rated regarding the stamped lore approved, like somewhat or no, just not at all? That I am not in a position to answer, but the devs will point out to you when something is used. But what I think is going to happen is you will see references to things in game and stories. That's what I've been told. If it gets used in the game, it is canon. If it does not, it is not. That's subject to change. You can't quote me on that one because, again, lots of game development, lots of things change all the time for various reasons, whether it's time constraints, technicalities, all sorts of things like that. And while we're on the topic, I'm just going to drive Temujin nuts for about 2 seconds here. If you want to bean, my friend, go look at my profile on the forums. That's just to annoy Temujin. Calypso knows what I'm talking about later.
1,000
Don't worry
views.
about it.
Yes, I believe Wyvern Tamer, you got 1,000 views on yours.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, last time I looked,
I will go check.
Yeah, I'm checking right now. Also, yes, I know. Varric, you skyrocketed up to the 1,000 views.
I think Varric has the most.
Varric has 1.9 thousand views.
Holy cow!
Blood Maidens of the Red Lady.
1.9K views.
For Varric.
Dang, dude. I just picture Varric like spam emailing everyone he has ever met or ever known. Everyone's getting like those emails.
White A Slow Awakening. I want to say that was yours, right, Wyvern Tamer? That is almost to 500, so you're getting there. And then Bishops, I think. No, Termulgin was the ancient tablet.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that is also in the 500s. It's about to reach 600. So whatever algorithmic magic Blood Maidens of the Red Lady did, I think probably just because it's vampires. People love vampires. What was the
other one? There was another one because
there was another one. That is, I was going to say Chains of Truth, but that's a
community stream.
It's community stream. Where'd it go? Bishop had one also a while ago, maybe. Where is it? Art reveal. Maybe it's only on the Spotify. I can't find it. But yeah, they're racking up. They're racking up views, guys. So way to go. Yeah, way to go, guys.
I'm gonna be running through to find all of these now.
My lord submission was like 90%.
80% luck, 80 luck stumbling into the idea that just resonated with people apparently, and 15% shiny helping me translate the idea to paper.
Maidens probably is also a algorithmic triggering term now. Oh yeah, you're right, because of Elden Ring. That's also true. Praise shiny, but mostly the sun. Maidens is probably triggering for the algorithm. Yeah, that might be it too. But yeah, no, I think that's what I do like about the community stuff, and that's what I like about your guys' stuff, is one, that it is good, and B, it's community, and C, it has a chance. In my head canon anyway, any stuff that's been officially put onto the Deadhaus Sonata YouTube or Spotify's is canon. In my head canon, it's canon.
To be fair, they're all so well written that
I can't see that they're not going to be sprinkled.
They could be canon and not actually interfere with the main stories. They would be perfect as like
little side stories.
Yeah, because none of them directly affect any of the main characters or any of the main plots and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And one of the key parts to doing any type of fan fiction or any type of addendum to stuff, like when you're doing expanded universe, like with Star Wars and all like that, if it fits in without messing with already established stuff, it works perfectly. which is a great thing. Although no one knows what the established stuff is, so they can't mess with it, which is small benefits. But I think everyone's dying to know where Alaric goes next, what happens.
Yeah, I know it's on my list of like I've kind of been jonesing for them to come out, so I've been re-listening to the old ones. Like I think I listened to season 1 in full like a month or two ago.
I listen to season 1 at least once a week.
Yeah, and I try to share them with all my friends too. That's the other thing. Share all this stuff around. I mean, I know you guys do, but anybody who stumbles across this, if you guys do end up finding Deadhaus Sonata and finding the lore interesting, please share the lore around. Share Deadhaus Whispers around. Share whenever you can. You know, it's part of expanding and community-wise.
When the game is finally out, I'm going to roam every single library in the Deadhaus game to see if I can find out if there are books about an ancient tablet. Well, I can tell you, you will probably discover a lot of ancient tablets in the game, probably. Judging by the way Alaric's been digging around in things. So, like, in regards to that, like, we as a community for Deadhaus, it's gotten pretty strong, even though it's not as, like, daily active on a daily basis. It's because I think some people just get busy with other things, but we still have a lot of members. There's over 1,000 people in the Discord.
Yeah, and that's exciting.
And even though they're quiet, everyone's very helpful and friendly to chat out, because I've seen, like, even in the last few days, there's been people coming in saying that they're fans of Dennis's work, they're fans of the Legacy of Kain series, and just sharing their experiences with it. And I think when this demo gets out and more people get their hands on it, I think there'll be a lot more excitement around it, which should be very soon. Tell me what you think after your first look. I was unfortunately unwell. But what did you think of the video from the stream?
Oh, the demo, the gameplay?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I even made a video of my own of it. Yes, everybody go
check that out below.
Calypso, yes, check everything down below. Links for all that stuff. I did make a video on it. I was surprised at how like Nostradamuc accurate I was in my predictions and how we were in our predictions. Like so for the demo, Mike in our last episode, I believe, Mike asked me, "Oh, hey, what would you like to see for the demo?" I was like, "Well, give me more blood, give me dismemberment, and give me like a really early tarot card system look, right?" And guess what? For the demo, we actually got more blood, a dismemberment system, and an early tarot look at Ensanguinate or something. And
almost like something new.
Yeah, almost. And it looked so cool. Like I will say for a really early engine for O3D still being in development, the visually it looks good. The particle effects and everything look really cool. Even though the UI is like placeholder, I still actually liked the look of the UI, the user interface for like the
I think the plan for that is going to be that. Now, again, don't hold me to this, but I remember Dennis saying before that he'd like the idea of you being able to change it. So there will be the standard UI of the game, but you can alter it. Not just in settings, you can do like a minimalist type view and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, I know it had come up in discussions before, if that would be a perfect item shop cosmetic.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to buy like different kinds of weird layouts or any kind
UI,
of themes.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I would love that. I would love that. Like different themed UI. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I would like I mean, I'm sure it'll happen maybe for each class to have a different looking UI depending on what class you're playing. Like the vampire UI is vampire themed. The lich UI is lich themed. I remember back in one of the early streams, we got a look of the vampire UI, I think, or just an early version of it, where it's the red lady holding a statue or whatever, holding the orbs, and depending on what state you're in, she actually physically moves to hold this orb up or cradle it like a baby, or, you know, Hamlet, that thing, you know, for the UI. And I would still like to see that happen, but I'm also fine with a minimalist UI. I would like, I know it's not possible, I don't think, with the type of game, but I expressed how I would like a diegetic UI where there is no UI and the UI is on your character and within the game world itself. You know, they
I don't
do it
know
for
how
some other games
poss-
where
I
you can
don't
just
know
turn the
how
UI off.
possible that would be. It's a good
Yeah,
idea.
with the type of game, I think Deadhouse would need to become more of a slow paced sort of different type of game. It would need to be a different type of game to have something
What I honestly
within
would prefer is
diegetic within game.
What I'd honestly prefer is like Nick's 90. Now, this would be my personal one because I know not a lot of people like this, but I'd play through for like 2 or 3 hours with the cool UI the way it is, and then I just nix the UI, just get rid of it, just have it where
Yeah.
I can pull up what tarot cards I have for my hand and
Yeah.
be able to like toss them away, and then in the bottom corner just have 3 bars, like the opposite of Dark Souls. Would have that at the top, maybe put it in the bottom of the screen and just have my 3 bars in the corner because I like to see everything. I want to be able to see
too.
the whole game and look around. I want to see if there's a guy coming up to my back on my back right or on my back left, you know, when you can turn around and fight and stuff. So I love that. And I'm a screenshot junkie. I don't know if anyone's ever seen my Instagram. Go follow me on Instagram, Faceless Mike. It's just video game stuff. I may or may not be posting Deadhaus stuff in there sometimes.
Faceless Mike the photographer. You buy, equip one, and get mission bonus for playing like it. Oh, that'd be cool. Like I've been playing the God of War 2018 on PC. Great. And it runs like a dream and it's so good. Something like I like the God of War UI because you can turn the UI completely off and you can still visibly see what's going on within game. Like when Kratos is losing health, it does the classic, you know, things start to lose color and turn black and white, and there's a little red vignette around when you're like low on health or whatever. So that's how you know you're low on health, right? And if you have full health, you know, you just can see all the color. You have a little gem on your back or something that shows you how close enemies are to their vicinity, and if they're behind you, it flashes red or whatever. And you also have your boy saying, "Oh, hey, look out behind you! Look to the left of you," so you know enemies are behind or to the left of you. If you're using a power up and it's completely gone, you have no more power, like gems to use. Then the axe behind your back on your back isn't glowing at all, and there's no indication of your rune stones because you have your rune stones on there that are faded or fully colored. If you have a power up to charge them and you can slowly see them like stuff like that. Like I would like to see that for Deadhaus, you know, like to where you can turn everything off and you can still visibly see what's going on, or like Dead Space where Dead Space has no UI and the UI is all the character.
I just getting images now of Baron Eric. If you got it from the packet, you're
hey,
like
look
that.
Out behind
He's
you.
over here. He's over here. He's hiding. Come get him.
I love that. I would love that. That'll be great. So like that's what I would like to see for UI wise. But otherwise, the demo looked really cool. I liked all the blood. I like how it kind of coagulated and sort of faded out. But like just the fact that it was covering the entire like floor was amazing. The dismemberment was really cool. I like the chipping away of the armor and the fact that heads went flying and stuff. That was the coolest thing. Talents, more
talk about the concept of talents and how we decide our tarot cards get filled out. He's talking about the major, minor arcana that Dennis mentioned, and about how like you know the way the back of the card will have nodes and stuff. There will be more details on this in the future. I can't wait to find obscure cards that people say are trash, but if you mod it in a specific way, it could enhance other tarot cards in a way that is broken. You're going to see a lot of that in Deadhaus because Dennis doesn't like the concept of a meta game, which I completely agree with him on. I don't like the idea of you have to be this way in order to beat the bosses, otherwise you're just doing it wrong. So if you have a vast amount of options, and a lot of them are very heavy hitting, but for very specific playstyles. Again, sorry about referencing it to Elden Ring, but I've been playing that a lot lately. But the idea of like, you know, you can play as a sorcerer, you can play as like me, Unga Bunga build, you know, with the big sword and all strength, or, you know, all these various hybrids of classes. That's the way you're going to have it with class, but that's also going to be how your talents go. So let's say you're a lich. Maybe a lot of your stuff is based on curses and dots. Maybe you are just face melting with fire and ice. You know, like there's so many different attitudes and ways you could go about it. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, is how people do that. because you know within the first few weeks people are going to come up with some weird, bizarre combinations that even the devs didn't really consider that'll need to be rebalanced because they're just so broken. If you mix this ability with that ability, you just wreck everything.
Yeah, I've seen that the magic in Elden Ring might be a little bit too
It's
overpowered.
already got nerfed today.
Oh, it did? All right,
There's
well,
a
never
patch
mind then.
today. There was an ability which is an Ash of War, which isn't kind of magic. It uses magic, but you don't need magic to do it. They go onto your weapon, and it was a Hoarfrost Stomp or something. So basically, you smash the ground, and a lot of ice went out and froze things, and you could just spam bosses with it and just wreck everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I only picked it up the other day to try it out. I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's like, I'm not going to use that because I've my particular build, but that's really cool. And then they nerfed it. Like, it's still really good, but it's just you can't completely,
You can't one-shot bosses.
You can't lolcow bosses with the thing, you know? Elemental combos versus direct damage versus dots versus buffs, debuffs. Just some lich build ideas that show variety. Don't forget, there's armor.
Yeah, there is.
Different characters have different types of armor. This will play a role.
It's going to be so fun to play around with the tarot cards. There will always be stuff to do, cards to find, combinations to play with. Yes, that's my. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. Mike is holding up an actual card.
Yeah, I got a whole deck of these.
That's rad, dude. That's rad. No, that's what I'm excited for. That's the cool thing about Deadhaus is that with this tarot card system, it's going to be an endless thing. And once you think you've discovered every combination, there's going to be people coming in to discover new combinations. It will never end, and that's the coolest thing about the tarot card system. Apart from the obviously effects and the leveling up and the skills and stuff like that, is that it will just the combinations are literally endless. Card 1 and card 7 are trash. Oh, really? I found this cursed weapon that increases fire damage and life gain by 50%, and I just soloed. Insert some dungeon here. People fail often in full and man grounds. Yeah,
here's an interesting story to that, and I could see this happening in Deadhaus. I could legit see this happening. So there's certain things that people haven't discovered in Elden Ring yet. A lot of people have discovered, but it's not like a lot of public knowledge yet. So Elden Ring and most FromSoft games work very similar to Monster Hunter. Mm-hmm. You go against the boss, it's tough. You summon someone else, it scales up. You summon a second person, it scales up. The boss will scale in damage and difficulty based on the amount of people involved. So sometimes it's easier to go alone.
Yeah.
I could see that happening in Deadhaus, where there's dungeons where it's like, this is a really tough dungeon. I'm going to take 4 of my friends. So there's 5 of us doing this dungeon. And you just get wrecked because it would be easier if you just went alone.
Yeah.
I could totally see that playing in as an unspoken, unknown mechanic. What do you think?
I think, that's definitely a possibility. I think one of my favorite things to watch or to look up anyway on YouTube is Conan Exiles boss fights. For anybody who doesn't know, Conan Exiles is a survival game set in the world of Conan the Barbarian. Beautiful game, gorgeous aesthetic, love it, great game. But the solo boss fights are the coolest things ever because you have a stamina system, and just seeing how these characters are built out or whatever, and the fact that they're soloing the Death Stalker or whatever as the last boss, or a giant snake, or even when there's a god summoning a god, and they're somehow being able to literally knock a god down or kill a god or whatever within that universe is the coolest thing ever. Or seeing how they build their forts and being able to take on this. There's a thing in Conan Exiles I think they're called the Horde, and it happens if you've done something too negative within the Exiles universe, an undead army, a giant undead army called the Horde or whatever, will come and try to break down and destroy your base. There's people who've soloed that entire thing, and they've managed to keep their base intact for Conan Exiles. the coolest thing to look at and to like watch
That's
or whatever,
class.
especially how they do it. Like,
Gonna have to
I
look
would
at a
love
video on that.
something. Yeah, dude, it's so cool. That I would love to see that for Deadhaus also, like something where, oh hey, you can group dungeon this with a lich, a vampire, and a revenant,
Handful of ghouls.
handful of ghouls. But you could probably solo this as a souped up power revenant or whatever, and it'll be like that. It's the coolest thing.
I like the idea. Well, if everything is murdering inside the dungeon, is it still stealth when you can play? Yes, if there's no witnesses and there's no one to tell anyone, that's still stealth.
Stealth is optional.
I like the idea that, by the way, I'm going to be using that frame of reference and that quote in future from now on. What I mean, just a handful of ghouls. Get everything else in a handful of ghouls. That'll fix everything. I'm curious to see, because I foresee some really interesting bits in regards to dungeon runs for Deadhaus. Like, we're going to have communities. You're going to get your standard communities. We're going to have RPing people. We're going to have just people that are just grouping together just to play the dungeons and have fun. Then you're going to get the creative ones. So you're going to have the Zerg Rush Ghoul Guild. That's just going to be like ghouls tearing through everything.
The speedrunning community is going to be nuts. I have a feeling the speedrunning community for Deadhaus.
You see Elden Ring one?
Speedrunning the dungeons is going to be nuts.
Have you seen the Elden Ring? Someone managed to get it down to like 39 minutes.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
It was done initially as like under an hour. I seen a guy do it. I can't remember his name. You'll be able to find him if you look it up online. Zerg Rush Vampire Guild. I could totally see that. Oh, totally for role playing purposes. I could totally see like just a vampire guild.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the freaking the Blood Maidens of the Red Lady. I can totally see that as a guild right now.
Farrick's trademarking that on the forum as we speak.
Yep. Hurry up before someone else does it.
The idea of PvP, I dread a lot of PvP designs in MMOs. The original WoW Classic PvP system was cancer. It left a lot to be desired. I didn't like PvP in World of Warcraft. I stayed away from it. On the other hand, I actually really enjoyed it in Warframe.
Yeah,
a lot of people
they handle it really well.
I don't know if they handle it well, but I really liked it. But keep in mind, I was playing on PlayStation, so that
so totally different there.
Your mileage may vary. I like, even on PC, unless it's an FPS game, I will play with a controller.
Yeah.
If it's an FPS game, mouse and keyboard, obviously, and you can't play like real-time strategy crap with a gamepad. Like, you need the mouse when you're doing any type of those games. But for like action adventure games, anything, Monster Hunter, stuff like that, and with Deadhaus, I will be playing with a gamepad, with an Xbox controller, and I've been adamant about that and pushing that into things like, hey guys, set up the controller support.
Yeah, set it up. Because like that's a thing. I wonder. Damn, I was going to say something. The thing that I am also excited for within the community, apart like the PvP stuff, sounds really interesting. Whenever that is introduced, is seeing the builds that other players bring to fight you with or whatever is going to be really cool. Like, oh, this is mostly a debuff build or whatever, but how are you going to be able to kill me with a debuff build? And then they do it. It's how
you've got that, and then what would you call it? Synergy, I guess.
Something
the synergy of how you'll get people working together.
Yeah,
because that's going to be really, really interesting on the way that goes. Because when you say like you've got a dot build, let's say, and then you have a revenant, so the revenant's in there purely for tank and spank, as we'll say, come in broadsword, just wreck everything, while there's two liches just dotting the hell out of everything, and it's just all going to melt. Like, and how those combinations will work together, it's going to be phenomenal, especially when you think of how high end it's going to be, like end game stuff. So you've got high level spells, high level magic, high level damage, and how that's going to be, which leads me to think that some of these bosses near the end are going to get pretty tasty and chunky.
I wonder. They probably will. It's Dennis and Jack and the rest of the design team or whatever. They will probably make bosses specifically damageable only by this one or two elements. You know how basic boss fights have different stages, right? like in Elden Ring, for example, I might as well just call this an Elden Ring episode. No, in Elden Ring, I know the first boss has like 3 different stages, and the way it changes up is kind of, you don't see it coming, I guess.
I don't want to spoil it for people, but there's a few of those where there's mild phases. So like phase 1 and phase 2 is just like he gets more powerful.
Yeah.
And then there's other ones where the entire fight changes.
Yeah,
Everything
like I could see that. I could see that for Deadhaus. I could see that for Deadhaus, but it's aligned to a certain tarot system. I already forgot. Trinary archetype system. It's aligned to a certain trinary archetype system. So you start off in the red, and then it switches up to the green out of nowhere, and then it switches to the blue or the yellow or the purple or whatever. I could see that for boss fights. So you'll definitely either need to come super prepared if you're soloing it, with like kind of a jack of all trades build, or vampire build or character.
I just had the image when you were saying that of a revenant. You go in and it's like, ha ha ha! You get through like phase 1 of the fight, and then ha, I can only be damaged by magic. The revenant just slammed the sword out. Well then, F you, I'm going home.
Yeah. Okay, bye. See you, and I'll come back, I guess. See ya.
I'm gonna come back with a lich, and I'm gonna beat you.
Yeah. Okay, you stand over there. I'll go home.
He only takes magic damage. Revenant grabs Lich by the foot. You just start beating him. It's literally Aaron Universe's Hulk Smash.
Yeah, Hulk Smash. That'd be great.
That'll be great. I think the idea of a magical tattoo being a good idea for high level. You can fix FX only have 1, but it can be changed later if you decide. That is really interesting. So
that's actually a really good idea. I'm going to steal that. Idea.
Think about that idea, because you could do that with the undead. So in other games, again, Elden Ring, of course, but any From Software game, you've talismans or something that you wear as a charm. But since we're dead, you could literally carve it into you.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a brand or a tattoo. I know I'm leaning a bit heavy on Berserk here. Forgive me, I've only said it recently.
Oh, I will.
But you could have a brand, yeah. And it would be really interesting, because they could be, based on, maybe minus 10% magic damage. Or
God, what game did that? What game did that? Did Fable do that? Did Fable do something similar to that? I know you could do tattoos in Fable, but were they attributed to stats? Where this tattoo?
No, I don't think it was in Fable, but Fable did have a thing of when you become really magical, you got magic tattoos.
Okay. Gosh, is there a game that does that? I don't actually think I've ever. I don't actually.
Shadow Man is one is related.
Shadow Man does that. Yeah, Shadow Man does that. But that's you. What's funny is in Shadow Man you collect the dark souls, and then it increases your health or whatever, and you get. It's not represented in game because it was like low poly and crap, but like there is little markings or whatever that show up occasionally in your diary and everything. No, never mind. That's a different game I'm thinking of. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen or heard of a game really that does magical tattoos attributed to like spells or powers or whatever.
No, I know I've seen it somewhere before, but
there's something. Yeah,
vague.
Yeah, there's something.
That'd be really cool. Like, watch this. We're going to finish this now. It's going, duh, it was this.
Yeah, exactly. I played a little bit of Hunt Showdown earlier before this episode. During this episode. Great game. Everyone, please go play Hunt Showdown. It's very difficult. The learning curve is very long, very hard, but it's so fun. And I was like, you have magical tattoos on your hands, but no, you don't. That'd be really cool, though. That'd be really cool. D&D has released that with Tasha's Cauldron. Magical tattoos. You only have one magical tattoo, but you can also have one magical brand. You get branded permanently, and then you get a magical tattoo that can change up, maybe.
Let me guess, the tattoo artist is a weird goblin down some back alley. In like, where was it?
$50.
Yeah. $50, man.
Yeah. I went outside the line. Sorry, it's gonna mess up.
Get in the chair.
That'd be really cool, though. That'd be cool.
Goblin?
Is there a goblin in Deadhaus? There probably will be goblins, maybe.
There's been no mention of anything like that in the lore. So
Well, I
far,
mean,
we've only
ghouls.
got
Ghouls could be, high profile goblins, sort
so far
of.
we've only got humans, the dead. We know there's giants. We know there's dragons.
A quest chain to unlock the magical tattoo. Yo,
Yet,
Termulgin, jump on the forums and write this down, man. This is a really cool idea.
Ura.
Like, that'd be a cool suggestion.
If there's dragons, there must be goblins, right?
Yeah, there's gotta be. There's gotta be. Watch we get a hard confirm from Dennis. No goblins.
Yeah, I'm going to get the DM going. Shut up, Mike. There's no goblins.
Yeah.
Goblins could be a member of another house. That's a really interesting.
Yeah, I forgot about that completely. Yes. We have giants. We have goblins. Goblin house.
If there are giants, are there dwarves? This is not high fantasy. I don't know how we're going to work this.
Well, I think the giants in here are more. I was gonna say traditional giant, but that's not a thing.
As opposed to these neo-modern giants.
These contemporary giants. God, I think I think that'd be cool if there were goblins, but like it's got to be a cool twist on goblins, like I could really see a funny kind of jokey sort of thing for the goblins. They're very gosh, what was that game? Overlord?
Yes.
Overlord. I can see the goblins being like the ones in Overlord.
If there are
level
dwarves,
Pikmin
wouldn't
level
elves have to then be a thing too? Theoretically, yes. But again, I don't know if this is high fantasy or not. This is, as Dennis put it, grimdark.
Yeah, there's that kind of stuff in grimdark. It's very, there's that kind of stuff, but they're always evil and they always try to kill you.
Very evil, very nice, very evil.
Yeah, they're always evil and they try to kill you. So, yeah, that's something to look into.
Non-human house. There probably will be non-human houses.
Yeah,
I can see that because I don't think humans aren't a house. Humans are a minor house, if what I remember from Dennis.
Yeah.
So a minor house would be a subsect. They don't officially belong to a house, but they would have been descended of that house, if you get me.
Yeah.
Which sparks the question, what is a house? It is our community. How do we build this? How do we get them to come? Build it and they will come.
If you build
the original,
they will come.
That's the original topic of the stream, but we've deviated. But the general point is still the same of what is it that makes a good community? So, quick rapid fire. Calypso, you discover a new game. It looks really cool. It's online. Give me 3 things that it would need to have to make it a good community. I was going to go 5, but we'll start with 3. I'm taking suggestions from you guys. What do you think? What does a community need to have?
I think something like, well, welcoming. I think is number 1. Like a welcoming community that helps you get adjusted, that will answer your questions, that will help you out gameplay wise. To throw it back to Hunt Showdown, the Hunt Showdown community is at one point the most helpful community on the planet, but at the other point the most toxic thing you've ever run into, because I've been playing Hunt since early access in 2016 and I'm level 50 and I can kill anybody in like 5 seconds, and it's very very much that. You have your 13-year-olds who are just very old Xbox gamer days. But then you have the other teams.
As someone who used to mod on Twitch, I know exactly what you mean.
Yep, and there is, but there, at the other end of the spectrum, Crytek, who works on it, are also very helpful and will answer your questions and give you tips. And the helpful community for the Hunt Showdown community is very, here's some strategies you kind of got to program into your brain to get better, because it's a very challenging game. Very challenging. Can't stress that enough.
So story building is one suggestion. I like that. That's definitely a key thing, because
there's a lot of lore.
I don't like bad mouthing games, but I'll give you 2 basic examples just off the top. I really wanted to get into New World. I was hyped for that game. I thought it would have been really cool. I didn't think it was going to be really huge or anything, but I thought like this looks really interesting. I want to get into.
Yeah, it still looks good. What happened with New Worlds?
Dude, I've played through a
Did it
lot of
crash
that.
and burn
Like,
already?
and no, it's kind of doing the MMO thing of stabilizing out into its kind of niche area that it won't be as big as the other ones, but it's okay. It's doing fine.
Yeah.
But dude, I went like 20 hours in. I couldn't tell you what was happening. I couldn't tell you the name of an NPC. I wasn't too sure what was going on, and I cared even less. Like, that's not a good way to do it. Meanwhile, in Elden Ring, I am scanning and searching every item I find, looking at the environments, because there's stories being told just with like what has happened in the environment. Like, you see an NPC, and then you see the scene near them, and you can put the story together just by looking at it. And then you talk to them and they give you some exposition and you're like, okay, this happened, then this, and then so like any bit of story. And I'm glad to say I haven't need to watch any videos from Vati yet to actually figure out what's going on, because he hasn't really made any. And then Temujin's got one. Here is it. 1, welcoming of noobs and willingness to help them. Very important. 2, the possibility of catching up eventually if you invest the time. Yes. And 3, the gameplay. The gameplay, yes, but
the gameplay should be the thing that sort of draws you in. You know, that's what really gets you in there.
The possibility of catching up. So here's the thing with that, right? There's 2 aspects to that. I think you should be rewarded for being the first people in the door and for spending an awful lot of time playing. That being said, I don't think that someone that has been there, let's say I'm there for day 1 of Deadhaus. I play Deadhaus all day, every day for like the first year of the game's out. Then let's say I take a break for 6 months and someone else comes in like literally the day I log off for like 6 months.
Yeah.
By the time I come back, they should be able to be as powerful as me. No, they wouldn't have had the experiences I've had and all, but we should be able to run together with the same power. They should not be lacking anything I have other than, like, let's say cosmetics or rewards from stories, stuff like that. Nothing game breaking, power changing, or game altering.
Yeah.
You know, it should just be anything that makes me better than you should just be showy off stuff. A funny cloak, a cool hat, an interesting emote, maybe a cool looking mount or something. It shouldn't be like, I will always be better than you because I got this item you can never get. That's what I think. The possibility of people catching up, that should be important. And then Wyvern's got welcome, a place to talk, no limitations on catching up. Yeah, basically what I was.
That's good too. Yeah. That's good too. A place to talk is something I like. I like that a lot because if you sold an item on the auction house while you were offline, the item was sold, but you didn't get the gold. Well done, devs.
That's New World.
That's New World.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, New World. No, a place to talk is great because, and that's something I've noticed, I think, with all communities, be them single player games or online, is that a place to talk is always there. And you have, you can talk about your experience of, I just did this really cool thing. Here's a little video clip, or it's something I think that brings it back to what Dennis said in the very beginning with Deadhaus, is that they're trying to create narrative. And it's like, how can you create narrative out of an online game? Because the narrative is you talking about the game itself, talking about your own personal experiences and story. Like, those are stories that they're your stories, they're your experiences. And that is what kind of expands upon the world of Deadhaus or any other game.
I don't buy that though. No, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but I don't buy that. You know, when they say like, oh, you can't have narrative in a multiplayer game.
Yeah, no, I don't buy that either. Yeah, why not?
You can have stories. You can have, like, go to NPC A, they send you to place B to kill enemy C and go back to get A again and all. It's just got to do with writing. That's just pure laziness on the game developers' part. They didn't want to put in stuff like that. Like Elder Scrolls Online. I know a lot of people don't like it. Some people love it. Some people don't. Man, the stories in that are really cool. I've had some really interesting adventures in that game, and that's an MMO.
Yeah. I guarantee you, here's something. I guarantee you, if Cyberpunk 2077 turned out to be an MMO instead of a single player game, which I think they thought about doing, but then they canceled it, or they're still working on, I don't know. They're trying to do a multiplayer thing. It's very weird. I don't know what they're doing. But if Cyberpunk 2077 turned out to be an MMO instead of a single player game, but it was the exact same game, you went through the exact same main quest as everybody else, your V or your character, and then all the side quests were the same side quests. I guarantee you someone there would be some article or some news. Oh, wow. Cyberpunk 2077 is the first MMO with narrative, with a strong narrative or something. But it's like Warcraft. That's the thing. World of Warcraft has an incredibly strong narrative. It's just you have to play and find out relatively anyway.
Warframe as well. Like, granted, you have to commit
Warframe
60 to 80 hours just to get to started. I know they've updated that a lot now, but back when I was playing it like full on, that had some of the most amazing stories in it. And they were incredibly written and incredibly well performed.
Yeah, you can have a strong narrative within games, within any game to get it. Yeah, you can have a really strong narrative that pulls you in, that makes you feel like you're playing a single player game or whatever, with a really great single player story driven narrative that's online. It's just you need to have the story there, or like writing there in the first place. Anybody who, or any game that's like, oh yeah, it's an MMO, and they do simple text based fetch questy stuff, like, that's bullshit. You can not have that, and you can have more single player focused or story driven focused missions within your MMO. It's just you got to commit and you got to do it, And go ahead. I completely forgot what I was saying. Go.
What you were saying before is we were talking about like social areas and social hubs. Now that's an important part in most games, but sadly, nearly every game has them that has online features. Like Warframe has relays, Phantasy Star Online has the main station. Everywhere has these things. Not many games utilize them as much as they did before. Because I remember like full-blown conversations going on in World of Warcraft in like inns and taverns and main cities and stuff. But you don't see that as much anymore in games. I think I don't know. It's strange. Has it got to do with people would prefer to like type on a Discord server? Maybe they prefer to chat in voice chat. I know that's very dependent on me. I don't know if I'd want to jump into voice chat in some communities, but how does that go? Because I think you're going to see social areas that'll be in Deadhaus will be really interesting. Funny part is, I'll see you all there.
Yeah. We're all going to be there. Anybody who stumbles across this, we're going to be there. Everybody in our chat is going to be there pretty much.
I promise y'all I will make one weird character that I will call Faceless Mike, and I can make sure I can reserve that name, so that you can all come up and annoy me and talk crap in the game, and we can do so, but not violating terms of service.
Yep, there will be a Calypso. Hopefully nobody will copyright me on that. David Jaffe, please don't copyright me for using the name Calypso.
I'm gonna go full out. I'm just after deciding it there now. I just thought the best way to do it as well, go Faceless Mike. It's going to be a wraith.
I want to have normally when I play games, I either go warrior or wizard or cleric. Every time I have a cleric character, I name him Pardew the Holy Man. So because I can't Pardew, I am Pardew the Holy Man. That's actually from there's a really old Tom Hanks movie called Mazes and Monsters, and it was released during the height of the D&D Satanic Panic.
Lord
thing. So they made a movie called Mazes and Monsters, which was a parody of Dungeons and Dragons, and Tom Hanks played a regular like college kid, but his character was Pardew the Holy Man, and every single time he introduced his character, he was like, I am Pardew the Holy Man, and that's where I got that name from. But I want a lich. I want my lich to be Pardew the Holy Man.
Did you ever watch the actual Dungeons and Dragons movies?
Yes, I actually that's one of my guilty pleasures. The Dungeons and Dragons.
There's a Waynes in it, for God's sake.
Yes, there is. That is one of my guilty pleasures. The musical score for that movie is amazing. I think the sets and costumes for the time are really good. It's
one of those that's so bad it's good.
Yeah, I feel bad for the director because the guy who made it had a lot of passion for fucking Dungeons and Dragons. It's just they gave him a shoestring budget and like 6 months or whatever to hammer it out. So he did what he could. You know what I mean? I wish he would get to remake it or whatever and like
that deserves a remake. That'd be
it totally does. It totally does. One of my favorite
maybe
movies.
With the rise of things like Critical Role and stuff like that, maybe
Critical Role has a freaking television show now.
Yeah,
I can't believe that. That's crazy. Critical Role has a series now on Netflix or something called like I think Vox Populi or whatever is Critical Role, right? I think so. Yeah. Check that out, guys. Critical Role, that Dungeons and Dragons actual play with Matt Mercer and all these voice actors, has a Netflix series or something called Vox Populi, and it's just their.
Hold on, I'll Google it while you're talking.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Correct. Vox Machina. Thank you, Termulgen. Vox Machina is the critical.
Yeah, Vox Machina, the legend of Vox Machina or Machina, whatever way you're one of those people that I don't know how to pronounce these properly.
Yeah.
Vox Machina because it's Deus Ex Machina, but anyway.
Yeah. That's really crazy.
So, like with the rise of stuff like that, it could do with a reboot. But on to the other part that we diverged again. We love dodging topics.
We digress. Sorry, guys, we digress.
What would you think we should have to, as I was pointing out, that like a lot of things have social hubs. Many games don't have them successfully implemented because people don't use them. What would you need to use the social hub in Deadhaus, Calypso, and everyone watching? What do you need? What would make you go to the social area and be social in a game?
If it looks really cool, like if it looks really cool, I'll go. Like if I can go to, like come on, Faceless Mike's background is the red lady statue, probably going to be a vampire social area in game. It looks awesome.
There's a whole awesome. There's a whole story about this lady.
Yeah. So something like that. If it looks really cool, if you get little bonuses for going into social areas, like, a 5% increase in this or that, to go in, would be, I think, a good invite to get people to join social areas or go in and chat or whatever. But at the exact same time, it can easily turn into a spam area where people just go in, get the 5 and then they leave. So there should probably be like a time limit to where if you stay like, 10 minutes or something, just chatting, or 5 minutes in total, not, all at once, but like in total going to the social areas, maybe, then you get a little 5% increase for like 2 hours or a day or whatever.
I'm waiting on that, everyone just going in, standing around, hey, what's up? Oh, time's up. All right, see you later. I'm off.
Yeah. Something like, I don't know. There's got to be, even customizing social areas is really cool. So if you get guild areas and stuff around, hey, come see my kick-ass vampire area or whatever, or my cool wraith area. Could be where merchants or could be that too. Social, could like little hub areas, little city hubs or vampire hubs. Like, here's your merchant, here's your armor, here's your this, here's your that. Like Novigrad in The Witcher. Witcher 3,
the Shinjuku of Deadhaus.
The center.
Oh, Novigrad. Okay,
where you have your library, one little thing, or this or that.
We did it. We got a whole episode without you mentioning The Witcher. Now you've said it. I'll bring it up.
Sorry. Ding, Witcher again.
Where's the Witcher counter? Novigrad is probably one of the most beautifully realized fantasy locations I've ever seen in any video game. Like the way it runs. If you're playing this on PC, on high specs, and everything's on Ultra, now it's great on the PlayStation, it's great on Xbox and all like that. But on that, the amount of population density and people going around, it is one of the few times I have played a game where it actually feels like a vibrant, living city. Yeah. There's nothing worse in a game when you go into a city. There's like, this is the city, and there's like 8 NPCs. Mm-hmm. There's like 8 people walking around and all. I know certain parts of that are like graphical limitations and, hardware limitations and all like that. But Novigrad, like, you bump into people if you try to run. Like, that happens in a real city,
Yeah. Rebecca says, I'm still in Novigrad in The Witcher 3. The game is just so expansive. I've backed off because I feel like I'm drowning. Yes, The Witcher 3 is one of the only games where when I'm in a city area or something that's like a popular city area, I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm back in the streets of New York. There's so many damn
Calypso's
people. Get
getting
out
you
of my
friggin'
way.
social anxiety playing
Yeah.
Twitch.
Seriously, I get to like, no, I don't want to talk to you. Just let me run you over with my horse or something. Like, they did a great job popularizing that world with
And
people.
it's not just there. You know, Oxenford's the same. Like
Yeah,
any of the places are
any
the
of the
same.
cities.
You go to even the villages, if you count, and yes, I am that person, there is the correct amount of people per house.
Yep. Yeah, it's and they're all
And
out.
they're
They're all doing their
doing
own things.
things.
When it becomes nighttime, they actually all go in their houses and sleep. It's
They run
cool.
from
It's
the
cool.
rain. When
Yes,
it
that's it. Yeah, they run
rains,
to the
they
raid, get under the
run and
thing.
try to hide in under things. So Novigrad. Okay,
What's
I
it
mean
called? Constantly
drowning
doing
when
them.
it comes to the
Yes, no,
quest.
same. I am.
Oh,
I think the last time me and Mike talked
there.
about it, probably on our last stream, I played.
Mm.
I'm like 80 hours into The Witcher. I'm almost 100 hours. I've only got to the Viking-ish area. I say Viking, but it's really not Viking.
Skellig.
Skellig. Yeah, I've gone
Where
to
everyone has
Skellig.
either a Scottish or Northern Irish accent.
Yeah,
And it's really jarring for me because my family's from Northern Ireland. So like when I'm going and like this dude is clearly from Glasgow, and then you go over and this other bloke is like, that's an Armagh accent. I know that's my family. It's like it's like, really?
Yeah. Okay, I'm back home. I just walked outside for a minute. Like
Calypso, imagine you were playing like Cyberpunk and like everyone's like talking this, that, and the other, and then all of a sudden you hear like a real New York accent, like a proper like Manhattan or Bronx like accent.
Yeah, go to Skellig. Go to Skellige. It's great. Like it's oh god, they did such a good job with The Witcher 3. Yeah, I'm 80 hours in and I'm only like, I think, a quarter in of the game's actual main story because I've just been doing side quests the entire time. And I have it where I don't do fast travel because I want to be as immersed as possible. So that's probably where a lot of the hours go, just actually traveling there, no fast travel, doing all the little side quests, selling all my damn shit because I get overburdened. Yeah, like it's so good. They did a great job.
You need bigger saddlebags.
Yeah, I think I upgraded that. Finally. And I didn't know this. I found out you can buy, I think it was in an expansion or something, you can buy cool horse armor. You could buy horse armor for
that has to be a dig. That has to be
a definitely. Hey, buy this really fancy horse armor. It's got the best saddlebags and the best saddle and the best horse defense and fear, everything. I'm like, oh wow. And they gave it to you for free. Thank you, CD Projekt Red.
But yeah, so what else would you need in the social area? I do think having a vibrant life like Novigrad and stuff would be a thing.
Well, that's the positive right there. The vibrant life will come from the community itself.
I do think we need a certain level of NPCs though.
All the hundreds of people within that area walking around is the community itself, is the social area itself, but also, NPCs, and the NPCs have to do something. Buy this really great horse armor also comes with an entire expansion. Yes. I think the NPCs, if the NPCs in the social areas, I understand if they're there for flavor, but if they aren't there for a good flavor and they don't actually do something beneficial to the game, I think that's nice.
I definitely think you're correct. They need to have a point. Like the NPC shouldn't just exist there just to be an NPC. They should give certain like hints of dialogue. Like I think every NPC should point you towards something. Like from story contexting, it's like, oh, did you go talk to so and so yet? Or it's like, oh, I hear out in the Western Reaches there's things like that, like a contextual dialogue that's more than just basic flavor text.
That's what I like too.
You could have it keyed, because Dennis's idea of having the greater metadata for like your characters, where the game's logging what you're doing and reacts accordingly. So imagine. Oh, it's like, oh, you want to be careful of going out to the Western Reaches. I heard there's blah, blah, blah. You come back later, you've kicked butt out in the Western Reaches. Like, oh, you actually went there? Is it true that, and then the NPC like reacts to you like that? Rebecca, the quest lines I'm struggling with are the Baron and his family.
Yeah, morally struggling with probably.
Get used to it. There is never a right answer. That's something you're going to learn.
Yes,
in The Witcher.
I've discovered that there is no right answer. I literally, I'm one of those guys. I save my files twice before I make a choice, and then I make one choice, and if I don't like the outcome, I make the other choice. And I realize they both kind of shitty choices. And you got to pick which shitty choice is the better choice.
The lesser evil. That's the point.
Yep, the lesser evil.
And getting Dandelion out of prison.
I hated that quest. I fucked up so bad on that quest. Oh my god.
I rushed through the game just to get to Dandelion because to me Dandelion is the most important character in The Witcher. Yes, Julian Alfred Pancrans. Dandelion's my favorite character, man.
I still need to watch season 2 of the Witcher TV series. I'm waiting for my friend, and I have to keep forcing her to try to watch it with me, but she
so much funny bits with Dandelion. It is.
That's what I hear, but I also hear it differs so much from the source material that it's like, why is this even called The Witcher now?
Let me put it to you this way.
So much.
Don't. You read the books, did you?
Oh yeah, I've read all the books.
Yeah. Forget that. You played the games. Forget that. Just enjoy it for what it is. This is for the further adventures of Geralt of Rivia. Just think about it that way. Because if you start comparing it like I did to the books, you will be banging your head off a wall because they went so dramatically wrong and changed things. Like technically the first episode story is kind of a rewrite sequel to a story in the Sword of Destiny.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's a sequel in one part, but then it's actually completely changed because it's the first time. Without spoiling things, I can't explain it, but it's like a sequel and a rewrite at the same time. So if you understand that they've done that, just enjoy it for what it is, like the adventures of these characters. You know?
Yeah. The quest. Oh, she said the Baron and the Dandelion. See, that's. I think you said this just now, Mike. With the NPCs actually pointing you to stuff. You've gone this way. Have you gone that way? Flavor text like that is really cool, and I also think it's good for just hinting. If you come back to Deadhaus like 2 months after, like later,
I don't know
you forgot what you're doing.
Yeah,
you can talk to an NPC in one of the hub areas, and they'll tell you what to do, and they're like, oh hey, I remember you, you're that blah blah blah, and you were supposed to go do this, remember, I even paid you for it, or whatever.
It'd be hilarious to hear Lord Zoran going, didn't I send you so and so a month ago?
That would be the icing on the cake. Took you long enough. You're back already. Yeah I didn't think I would see you again, you kind of vanished there, or whatever. Did we talk about this? Did we bring this up? I know Zoran and other characters are probably going to be the whole, you must go do this and do that and blah blah. Very much the Ariel and the Elder God in Soul Reaver, stuff like that. But I actually want an Ariel and an Elder God. I would love if you were a vampire and you went to the Red Lady and you kind of kneeled before the statue, and then in your mind you heard her talking and giving you hints for quests.
So kind of like the Night Mother in Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, like that. Kind of like that.
If it turned out like that.
How you went to the Elder God in Soul Reaver, and he would tell you what you needed to go or where you needed to do for your next quest if you forgot. Or Ariel, if you went to Ariel, she would provide you, but it wouldn't be outright telling you what to do. It would just hint you at what you need to do. Oh, in the northmost reaches, your brother Zephon awaits, but beware of this. Spiders, something like that, like cool little stuff like that.
You ain't got arachnophobia, eh?
No, good. No, I am scared of spiders because of Soul Reaver, but that's another story for another time.
Don't play Elden Ring.
No, oh geez, really? Is there giant spiders in that? Is the first boss a giant spider?
Worse.
I think that would be a very technical thing to do, as it's individually account based. A journal or something similar would be better, perhaps. A journal would be really cool, but I think you have a point there. The way they can do that technological wise, Rebecca, is there's some. It's an individual scripting. So what you do behind the scenes, speaking from a gameplay and a programmer perspective, is you tick it. You have a little box you can tick, or something you can write in your coding. Is if they have done this quest, which feeds on all this other data, then you play this message or you do this. If you do it for this other data, then it plays this or it doesn't do that.
Basically,
And
like
if
a
you haven't done
ladder
any
tree.
of that, and if you haven't done any of that, then it's something else. So it's and because each person is playing, and I'm sure there's only going to be a finite number of things and main quests or side quests that every player can do, then you just have to copy that across all these player data and have it read that way.
It'd
So it's
basically
sort
be
of a loop.
limited. They've one of like 10 possible things they can say, and it will change based on you doing each thing. And that'll be a lot easier to do, because keep in mind the core concept of this is being cloud based. So that's just a case of getting George or whoever else is doing it in to record
So it's like how many
server.
How many lines of dialogue do you really want to say for this? You know, something really cool. So Dead Space is getting a remake, but that's another story for another time. They just showed their audio. So I think someone pointed out that the audio did it. You know, Resident Evil 2 remake did it, and now the Dead Space remake is doing it. Depending on your damage state, the voice actor or the character will sound a little different. So
I
if you know,
like that idea,
yeah. So if you're just walking normally, you're gonna be like, "Hey, how's it going?" If you ran a little bit, you're gonna be out of breath. Hey, how's it going? And if you're hurt and damaged, you're gonna be like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" or whatever. They can do that for Deadhaus too, where if you've been gone for 2 months or 1 month or 12 months or whatever, they can change the dialogue. But that's all just a matter of how often do you want the voice actor to record 10 different versions of this so we can feed it into our data, you know?
You've been gone a lifetime.
Yeah. It's been 186 days specifically to this date and this time. Where have you been?
But they're definitely all things I think I'd like to see. I want to see I want to make it easy. Okay, here's my list. One, I want it to be made easy that I can play with friends or solo. We know that's it. But also to group up with randoms.
Yeah.
You know, so like kind of like the way Warframe does it. I can choose to queue solo or I can queue with people and stuff like that. I want there to be a social area and I want it to be relevant. So how does that work? You'll have like whatever ways you get the quests. I'm assuming there'll be some type of hub or some characters you go to and all like that. I do think one of the ways to do it is, have you played Warframe a lot over the last few years?
I have not. I've literally only played maybe the tutorial area like 3 or 4 times, and then
have you ever gone to like the whole Cetus, the Plains of Eidolon, or on Venus, the place? So what happens is they've now world hub places where
I've been to one of those. I went to one of those and it was amazing and huge and gorgeous.
Having things like that. So if you go to an area, let's say we go to like the main city, like Anumat or whatever the main home base ends up being in that when you first go there, like when you click into that node on the map, you just load into like the city gates and walk through the city. Or have whatever way it's laid out, the crypt, the underground, whatever, you know, having it like that and having the merchants and stuff like that. So when you go there, like, even though you might be in like, let's say your private crypt or whatever, when you load into the game, if you want to go there, you are all dumped into like this same open social area and have a purpose for being there. That will help a little bit of the socialization, and maybe between some type of matchmaking systems or friendship systems where you can boost XP if there's people that you're not randomly assigned with. So if you group up with people before you go into a mission, maybe there's an XP boost or something. That will encourage people to be more social. Plus, the weight falls on us. We will have to go out and be more social and talk in the game. That will create that attitude, because all of us who land in the first and second ages are setting the tone for what follows.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And with that, I think that actually wraps it up for this episode. So, thanks everybody for, Charlie Horse. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. This has been Deadhaus Whispers, Deadhaus Sonata fan podcast. If you have enjoyed this episode of Deadhaus Whispers, you can check out Deadhaus Sonata at deadhaussonata.com. You can check out everything. All the socials are there on the Deadhaus website. I am Calypso. You can follow me on Twitter at Necrolibriatus or on Instagram at Necrolibriatus. And of course, you can follow Faceless Mike on Twitter and Instagram at The Faceless Mike. And everywhere else. Also, jump on the Discord, and you can follow Deadhaus Sonata on Twitter at Deadhaus Game, as well as Facebook. There's a Facebook, there's a Reddit, there's all that stuff. So yeah, jump on the Discord, join the forums.
If you jump onto the Discord or onto the forums, give us a shout out and tell them we sent you.
Yeah, that too. And with that, I've been Calypso, and as always, Faceless Mike. And we will see you guys in the next one.
See you.